A lot of times on this channel, when I talk about certain topics, sometimes I'll mention, oh, so-and-so is my favorite thing of this series or whatever, but it occurred to me that I never really go too in-depth as to why I like certain things. Why I find myself quite so drawn to certain characters in all of these fictional worlds and these fandoms that I'm a part of. So I decided to start a new series on this channel called Why I Like the Thing, where I tell you why I like the thing. Bit on the nose for a title, I know, but hey, Occam's razor and all that. I don't know if I'll be going terribly in-depth with a lot of these videos. They're mainly just an excuse to fanboy and tell you about stuff I like, so hey, if that's your jam, then jackpot. Anyway, I think a pretty obvious first choice for this kind of video is a Pokemon, given that Pokemon's had such a heavy presence on my channel over the years, and specifically it should be a Pokemon that I've made no small effort to put over at any possible opportunity. Absol. Absol is a pure Dark-type Pokemon native to the Hoenn region, Pokédex number 359. It's about 3 feet 11 inches tall, weighs in at 103.6 pounds, and is classified as the Disaster Pokemon. The scythe-like horn on its head gives it the power to predict disasters, but because it's there when those disasters inevitably occur, superstitious people tend to blame Absol for the catastrophe, falsely labeling it as a Doombringer. Speaking of catastrophes, a lot of Absol's in-game locations tend to bolster its reputation as a bringer of disaster, because you can pretty often find it where, plot-wise, shit tends to go down. Now, I have to admit, for whatever reason, I have something of a disposition for liking dark, tragic characters in fictional media. I think that's partly because a character with a well-written tragic past kinda resonates with me on an emotional level in one way or another, and partly because I might not have actually gotten over my high school emo phase. I've also always really liked the dark type in general, again, probably not helped by me being a wannabe emo edgelord as a teenager, and it's to the point where I've always banged on about how it's kind of BS how the dark type has never gotten proper gym representation in the Pokemon games. A couple of Elite Four members here and there, sure, but never a proper gym. I had to go out and make my own Dark-type gym in a couple of older videos. Now, something I think is kind of ironic about my fandom for Absol, though, is that my all-time favorite Pokemon comes from probably my least favorite Pokemon generation. Now, put down your pitchforks, Hoenn babies. That's not me saying that the Gen 3 games are bad, it's just that, you know, Hoenn always just ends up being the one I like the least whenever I think about where the different gens rank in my head. Going back to Absol being a Doombringer, though, we have got to talk about its design origins a bit. One of the biggest inspirations for its design is a legendary Chinese creature called the Bai-Zai. According to Chinese religion, a deity known as Huang Di once encountered the Bai-Zai, who allegedly told Huang Di, yo, dude, there's like over 11,000 supernatural creatures in the world? I know, scary as fuck. But I'm gonna do you a solid, and I'm gonna tell you how to ward off their attacks and get them to stop haunting you. And then Huang Di was all like, sick. There's also a Japanese legend about a similar creature called the Kutabe, who may have literally just been the Bai-Zai, who once predicted that a deadly plague would sweep through the Toyama prefecture in Japan, but said that the plague would not harm those who used its own image as something of a talisman to ward off the disease. And this whole situation would lead to it later becoming something of a guardian spirit of herbal medicine. So, as you can probably tell, Absol has some pretty sick design origins, no pun intended, but I think we also need to talk about how cool its Mega Evolution is, because if you can actually believe this, Mega Absol is even edgier. Fuck yeah, it gets an even longer emo fringe and a second horn. Oh yeah, look at that, it's got fucking wings, except they aren't actually wings, but they look like wings though. So fucking cool, ah! And its physical attack stat goes from base 130 to base 150, so you can slice through the haters. At least, you know, you could if it didn't have the defenses of a wet paper bag. Come on, Game Freak, you couldn't have given Absol like 20 more points to its defense and special defense? Or at least a bit more speed so it's not getting outsped by its counters? No? But yeah, I think that about wraps up why I like Absol. It's an edgy, cool, dark-type death lion goat thing with a cool scythe-like horn and a tragic existence. If you like Absol too, tell me why in the comments below, and give this video a like if you too wish Game Freak had given Absol even the least bit of survivability with its Mega Evolution. Alright, thanks for watching. See you in the next video, friendos.